My guest is here, right here with me in the studio now, and we're ready to kickstart it. He is the global award-winning ICT wizard, Dr. Peter Olayiwola. He's the CEO, Rockshire Technologies Group, and in the next 50 minutes or so, we shall be discussing the digital world within the context of the Nigerian nation. A lot of files are still being pushed in the civil service in a jet age of information technology, high information technology. As a digital expert, how do you feel about this rather unhappy, disappointed, hopeless situation? How do you describe it?
Well, it is, it's a process. You start with a manual process, and then you digitalize. In Nigeria, it has been a very slow process. Mm. I believe the state that has tried to take the bull by the horn, that's really outstanding in Nigeria, is Lagos State government. Even at that, we still have files being pushed, but they have really digitalized a lot of things. For instance, land registry, okay, the management of land has been digitalized. Staff records. I remember when I was living in Lagos State, as an example. Okay, I went to the registry where my records were supposed to be kept on exit, and I find that it was empty. That's just an example. Okay, but since then, the state has digitalized even the staff records of the state, to the extent that you don't have to, if you want to see, if the head of service or somebody else wants to see the staff record, they don't necessarily have to ask for a file. They can, press a button and they can see the records of the staff. And even staff can, check their files to make sure that records that are supposed to be there are there. But that is Lagos State. But most of the other states somehow have been reluctant to digitalize their records.
Why reluctant? Why?
Well, one of the things that digitalization does is that it opens up the transactions to the public. I mean, it's like
to everybody.
To everybody, because anybody can come in and press a button, and all the transactions will come out. Okay, that's what Lagos State. That's under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is what Lagos State did. In other words, open up the operations of government, to the public. Anybody can come in and ask for records, and you don't need to be looking for files or vouchers. All the records will come out. Okay, and most states have been reluctant to do that, and it has hurt them in the process. For instance, digitalization has helped Lagos State government. In the year 1999, Lagos State was making about 300 million naira per month in Nigeria. But as a sort of computerization, by 2002, it was making about 4 billion. And by 2000, about 2 years ago, even this, by now, they are making about 30 billion a month in Nigeria. Because they have computerized, and all the taxpayers' records are digitalized. So,
and it has short-circuited a lot of funny games,
leakages. You see, that's what it does. It blocks leakages, and also makes you to be prudent, because you know that if you award a toilet roll at 5,000 naira per unit, somebody is going to be able to see it. So you don't do it. And then it forces you to follow due process, which many states are still not, they are not ready to be disciplined to follow due process. That is why you don't find computerization in many states. And one thing, sir, which I want to mention, Doc, is the fact that computerization does not mean buying boxes and distributing them in all the ministries. That's what many states have done. They have bought boxes, they provided internet, which people can use to surf the net, but they have not really computerized the activities, what the officers...
The facts and figures.
No, many are reluctant to do that. But the World Bank is assisting many of the states now to try to it's like, training them, changing their mindset to be able to follow the process and then digitalize all their transactions.
People will say maybe it's money that is not making some states to go into, because I know this kind of computerization means a lot of money. What do you say to this?
Well, Lagos State funded its own.
Yeah, Lagos can afford it, so people will say.
No, at that time, no. It was a competing demand. There are many other things that Lagos State will have done with the money, but Lagos State decided that they want to computerize. And today, the World Bank and other organizations are willing to assist, because I've been privileged to be a World Bank consultant on ICT. Since I left the Lagos State government, I've been working with the World Bank in one project or the other. Cross River State benefited. They opened themselves up. They were ready. Now I'm working with the Ondo State government. Ondo State government is now computerizing, okay, using the World Bank funding, and World Bank is ready to fund so many projects. So once they see that you have an attitude that you are ready to be assisted, So, and many other states like Bauchi and some other states, they have started. Kaduna State, the World Bank has assisted them. So now, there are many opportunities.
At the national level, how much answer can digitization, computerization, how much an answer can it get for the problem of corruption in Nigeria?
Well, at the national level, let's say at the federal level, I'm not so sure that computerization has been very, very effective at the federal level. For instance, if you cannot tell us that Nigeria's revenue today, that we made today, is so amount, then we have not started. We cannot be having several accounts. See, on the depot of the president, he must be able to know, he must be able to press the button.
But isn't the TSA account doing that now?
Well, TSA account is trying, but
it's a step in the right direction?
It's a step in the right direction, yes. It's a step in the right direction. So far, whatever everybody is making, both foreign and local, is entering. You see, so far we can capture everything in one go. Then we will have gotten there. Okay, and there are no loopholes. There are anywhere. Okay, so that is a step in the right direction. However, there are so many other things to be done. Okay, which I believe the federal government is also working on at this point, but we are not yet there.
As good as computer science knowledge is,
yes,
there's this dangerous negative application of it, for the perpetration of fraud. What can be done to eliminate computers' negative applications?
There's a saying that computer is garbage in, garbage out. It's like the way you make your bed is the way you're going to lay on it. The data that we input into a computer, because computer starts with the input, then the processing, then the output. So if you input fraudulent figures, you are going to end up with fraudulent results at the end of the day. And one of the things, that is why you have computer audit, which is different from the traditional auditing around the computer. And now today, you also have digital and computer forensics, okay, to assist you to even find out if somebody has done, because somebody could have the right input, and then somebody writes a code inside the computer that, for instance, let me give you an example. Somebody writes a program to be removing all the kobo balance on the customer and put it in another account. That's not seen outside, it's inside. And then you transfer all those kobo, okay, from your account, from my account, into a special account, and that person will amass some wealth illegally through that process. That's a computer program, small little routine that somebody can write. But when you now have computer audit, and you now also apply digital and computer forensics skill to those, it helps you to be able to find out what has happened, what somebody has done, and be able to track down some of these problems. However, you cannot say because the water is dirty, you throw the baby and the water away. Computerization is still the way to go, but it is for us now to decide how do we manage the perils of computerization. Okay. For instance, a lot of things could have been saved. Say pension fraud. All those celebrated pension fraud. You wonder, how did such amount, how were they transferred? Okay. And that is because the auditors of today are not up to date in auditing. An auditor of today is not the auditor of 1960, when computerization was not at a high level.
It wasn't even there at all.
Okay, so so you cannot say because you are an auditor then, or you are a big audit firm, and then you do not develop your skills in computer audit and computer forensics. If you don't, then you're going to have all this money just going out anyhow. So it is the lack of training and skill by those who are supposed to be the guard, the megard of our finances. Okay, I'm not quite sure if the Auditor General of the Federation or anyone have serious skills in digital forensics. I'm not sure as of today.
Now, some people will describe computer experts as dangerous people. They can manipulate, garbage something in to get particular end out. What's your reaction to this?
Well, in every profession, you have people. Well,
bad eggs.
Bad eggs, yes, in our society, but they are not the majority. Okay.
You agree with that computer experts can be dangerous?
No. Yeah, computer experts can be, yes, they can be dangerous. They can be dangerous. And also, even in our, well, we are not talking about our field of digital forensics, but even in our field, we look at computer experts as dangerous people. Why? Because they are the people who compromise evidence. Mm-hmm. But we are not gotten to that yet. I don't think we have. So that we don't confuse our audience. Yes.
Why is it taking Nigeria forever to be able to fully, effectively, and efficiently conduct something as simple as national identity card scheme? Why?
That's a
serious
$1 million question. Yes, I've said it many times that give me the national identity card project, I will deliver it to Nigeria. So I'm perplexed, just as you are. It borders on the will, whether we really want it to be successful. Mm-hmm. That's my honest opinion. I mean, that's my own honest opinion. Because if we want it to be successful, we will make it successful. But I'm not so sure whether the willpower is there to make it successful. That's my honest opinion.
Or people just want to make money with it.
I'm not, well, whatever the motive has been, I'm not sure that we really want it to be successful. Because if the government puts its feet down, this thing will be successful. I'm not so sure we want it to be successful. And don't forget also, the way the entire projects have been set up vis-a-vis the National Population Commission. Okay, what is the role of the National Population Commission? Is it not? Are they not supposed to be guarding the population of the people, their records, up till the death, from the birth to death? What is their role in this national identity project? That's why today anybody can carry our national identity card. Anybody can get a passport. So until we are ready to make this thing work, it won't work.
What will it take? Are we going to import people from the moon, from heaven, to come and do it for us?
No.
Does it mean we don't have Nigerians who are capable of delivering this project?
It is the entire project. How do you want this project to work? Do you want, in America, when I had my children in the US, I only filled a form. And from their birth to their death, the records are there in the public place to see. And from that registration, they apply for their passport. They got their passports. So
without having to be there physically.
No, you don't have to be there. No, you fill a form anywhere in the world. Okay, so if we want it to work, we will have to take into consideration capturing from birth unto death. But we have two bodies now. So what is the role of the two? Is it one to just to do census? Then after the census, what?
It seems they are working at cross purposes. Is that what you're saying?
I think the federal government needs to look at that. If we really want our national ID to work, and we don't want foreigners to be taking our national ID card and our passports, that's why many crimes are committed overseas, and they say they are Nigerians, because anybody can carry a passport to enter another country. Because there is a faulty process we have regarding the capturing of people from birth to death in our country today.
Okay, let's now take a look at digital forensics.
Yes, sir.
What role, what impact has it made within the criminal justice system in Nigeria? Because I believe this is one area that particular profession is supposed to make heavy impact.
Thank you.
Would you like to tell us along this line?
Yes. I believe, first of all, let us thank God that Nigeria had, this is one area where Nigeria excelled in this West African sub-region. Okay, we may be saying negative things about our country, but our country has advanced furthest than any other West African nation in this area. In the fact that we are the first to put into place the legal framework that allows for the admissibility of digital or electronic evidence in our courts. Okay, I had the opportunity to have delivered lectures to ECOWAS ministers and so on, in the past, and they were envious of the fact that we have gone so far ahead, and they were willing to copy what we have done in Nigeria. There are two major acts that have been enacted into bills that have been enacted into law in Nigeria, which has assisted and is assisting the judiciary in the prosecution of corruption in Nigeria. The first one is the Evidence Act 2011. Okay. That is a major landmark. Before that time, when a suspect is being prosecuted for corruption in the court, and bank statements were brought to the judge will throw it out. Why? Because the Evidence Act, as at that time, which the Constitution was merely rubber stamping, was enacted in 1943. And so that Evidence Act then did not recognize digital evidence. But from 2011, when the Evidence Act 2011, as amended, was enacted into law, several sections, okay, in the Act made electronic evidence admissible. For instance, Section 258 define what a computer is to be any electronic device for storing and processing of data. Okay. So, and then Section 84 of the Act admits anything that a computer generates. Okay, so far certain conditions, which are also mentioned in some subsections of that Section 84, are met. Okay, which are not difficult to meet anyway. So that one allows, from that point on, if you bring a bank statement to the court, it will be admitted. So that is one of the things that have allowed for the prosecution by EFCC, ICPC of corrupt people suspected to have committed corruption charges in the courts. Okay, so digital forensics is used. For instance, digital evidence cannot be seen with a naked eye. You have to do some work. Okay, maybe if I, first of all, let me first of all define what we call digital forensics, okay, or computer forensics. Okay. It is the science of acquiring, okay, identifying, preserving, examining, okay, analyzing, and reporting and presenting of evidence in the court. So, it's a process. If I'm a forensic examiner, for instance, if I bring out an evidence and then take it to court, the other side also can bring a forensic examiner who will take the same data, go and do the same process, and they must get the same result, unless somebody has done as compromised. So digital evidence has assisted in the prosecution of many cases today.
How well are the practitioners of law embracing this concept? How well?
It's a process.
Are they somewhat resistant to it? Like you said, some states are resistant to computerization.
No, I don't think I don't think they have a choice. Okay, I don't think they have a choice. The reason is that today, forensic examiners, professionals, are working hand in hand with legal professionals. I've been opportune to work with so many SANs, okay, who invite us, and we work together to put together a case and to go to court as expert witnesses for them. So the second one, which I mentioned, the second act, is the Cybercrime Act, which is a beautiful thing Nigeria has done to sign into law in 2015, and it has now criminalized a lot of activities that in the past, when, for instance, anything Cybercrime Act that was being committed in those days before the act was on, the police will have to go and be looking for, so something to nail the person. But today, all those acts have been criminalized, and in the act, ranging from attack on critical national information infrastructure, okay, to illegal copying of data, stealing of data, intruding into your computer, and hacking, all those, and even those who go and create a fake website, all those things are in the Cybercrime Act. The challenge we have is implementation. Right now, it is now we have started training the Nigerian police force and other law enforcement agencies, okay, and our security agents in how they can use digital and computer forensics to be able to prosecute these cases. So the training has just commenced and is still on. Okay, we had some this month, and we are going to continue to have more training in this area. And also, the judiciary also, the process of training them also to be able to understand, these technicalities are also.
Yes, still talking about a reprieve, from this cybercrime menace. The Turkish government in 2004 not only blocked Twitter, it also attempted to block access to the video sharing sites. That's the Turkish government. Would you recommend this extreme kind of measure, to the Nigerian government?
No.
Why not?
You don't need that. What has Twitter got to do with this? We are in an information age where there should be freedom for me to, if I have an idea, to broadcast it on the net. We have passed the age of post office.
But there's a wrong application in so many ways, in so many detrimental ways.
No, but I won't say Twitter is wrong. It's an information sharing platform. Somebody can decide to use it for bad, doesn't make it bad. Facebook is, I'm sure you're on, are you on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
Of course,
okay, I'll be able to find a lot of my friends, a lot of my old colleagues on Facebook, people I went to school with in the 70s in the US, through Facebook. Am I going to say it's bad? Somebody can go there and begin to abuse somebody. That doesn't make it bad. A fraudulent person can put a wrong face, a fake face. That doesn't make it bad. Okay? So I wouldn't recommend anything like that. All the government needs to do is to monitor.
How much responsible would you hold Google, for instance,
yes,
or any other high-tech institutions for the increasing rate of online piracy?
Online piracy. Online piracy. Well, but there are laws. For instance, there is copyright law in Nigeria. If I put something on online and somebody pirates it, I have the right to go to court.
The Google that provided the platform, is it liable in any way?
But like Google will have a disclaimer. Have you ever read their
very longish. People don't bother to read.
No, that's the point. You must read.
Very long.
So if you don't read and then you use it and somebody pirated your content there, it's your fault. So you need to sit down and read. And they will ask you to print it out so that you can give it to your lawyer to read for you. So, but if you don't read, then ignorance is no defense in law.
There's the introduction of the computer-based test, CBT. They now use it to conduct exams nationally, even within universities and so on.
Even elections.
Even in elections.
Yes.
I'm going to get back to that. But at this point, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Yes, the program is still Galaxy Line. You are welcome to it once again. My guest in the studio is Dr. Peter Olayiwola, a digital forensic expert. We were talking about computer-based tests. Started a couple of years back, and it was greeted by a lot of complaints from the users, the students, and so on. Situation of computer breaking down, they were not used to it, and it led to some of them failing the exams. How do you assess this computer-based test, its performance so far?
Well, I believe it's still going to be the way to go, because things are changing, and it's just for us to change our attitude towards some of this. With any system, there are some eventualities that we may not have prepared ourselves for. I myself have taken a test before. It's an international test, and it was about 10 minutes before the end of the test. Where we are holding the test, the power failed, and we could not reconnect back to the international body, okay? Because somebody was watching, the monitor was on, watching throughout, but we lost contact. All they had to do was to say, okay, we're going to reschedule the exam.
Cancel the exam and reschedule.
Because it will be unfair for them to, if they grade that and score me based on that test. Maybe what will make me to pass was the last 10 minutes when I will review everything again. I have a chance to review and be able to change, change my mind on here and there. So it will be unfair for them. So they just rescheduled and told me that I should take the free of charge the next exam session. So now, I'm telling you my own personal experience to let you know that yes, we cannot because of that throw it away. By and large, it is the best. It is the way to go. Technology is advancing, and you're going to discover that by and large, most people took this computer-based test. Okay, so to me, all we need to do is to make sure. For instance, these things are happening in Nigeria. Why? Mostly because the power will break, the power failure, shortage of power. So once you can improve our power supply, many of these computers will not necessarily be breaking down anyhow. But when power goes off and on, it can break down these systems. So I believe that it's still the way to go. Okay, it's still the way to go.
In spite of all the mess, that come with these computers.
Well, it depends on where the statistics are coming from. But throughout the world, it's still the way to go. You won't have, for instance, in the US, if you take a census in the US, you won't have many people complaining of this type of thing. It is only in this part of the world where, number one, we may not have serviced the computers properly. We may not have the power system may be failing. Okay, we may not have UPS. Even the UPS may be old. May not even be able to hold more than 5 minutes before they change the power, and the thing will go down, and you may not be able to reconnect back, which was my experience. So I will not, because of that, condemn it, because I know the fault was in the fact that the representative in Nigeria did not have a good, maybe a UPS or an inverter. If he has an inverter in place, I would not even feel that there was a power failure.
Have you actually been looking deep into this computer-based test, then to be able to see in Nigeria, to be able to see where the problem really lies? Because
yes,
a lot of the students are complaining about it.
That's correct. I just mentioned two. Okay, I mean the UPS that have been that they were attached to those computers. Okay, many of them cannot afford
the right type.
Yes. Okay, and even UPS only has maybe a few minutes. It is inverters that can last longer, and if they cannot have the capacity of inverter to carry the entire
system,
the systems there, then the battery of inverters also goes down with age. Okay, you do not inverter, so one battery is over 100,000 now.
Exactly.
And you have to buy 10 or 12. You are talking of serious money, so they may not be able to afford it.
So the costs to acquire this computer hardware and software, how do we solve it? For African countries that don't have the kind of money that the Western world
power supply.
has.
Let us have adequate power supply in the country. That is why Nigeria is one of the most expensive places to run a business in the world. Because of the cost of power. Even a barber, if he wants to open a barbing salon, what is the first thing we're going to buy? A generator set. I'm
talking of the hardware now.
Yeah,
even if you have power, you still have to acquire the hardware, the software for computerization. Okay. I'm saying, how can we possibly be able to achieve maximum hardware and software acquisition?
Now,
the best in town that will make us run efficiently.
Let me say this. Nigeria has to change. We as Nigerians, we have to change our mentality. Our mentality is that of a trader. We buy, we sell. That's our mentality, even in government. We don't have long-term plans that will make us to be self-sufficient at home.
Okay.
Do we manufacture computers, the components of the computers?
Now you are talking. That's where I'm going, really.
Do we recognize our homegrown software? Can they compete? Are they competitive with the world-class software? We have agencies in charge of this. So it is for us to change our mentality, to know that in 5 years, Nigeria must do this.
That takes me to the next question. The other day, we had this Facebook initiator, Zuckerberg, okay, right? He came to Nigeria with all the fanfare, all our government leaders were embracing him, so much. Now, when will we in Nigeria begin to produce the likes of Zuckerberg? Or do we have them, but they are not recognized?
We have plenty of them.
Plenty of Zuckerbergs?
Yes, we have them. Yes. For instance, the fastest computer in the world was developed by Nigeria. We have so many of them. And a lot of the projects that are going on in America today, you have Nigerians at the background.
So, what's the Nigerian government doing?
That's why I said, until we change our mentality from that of a trader.
Who are the we?
We, you and I, and people in government.
Okay.
We have a trader mentality. Why is Nigeria the largest importer of generator in the world? There are many questions we should be asking ourselves. We have to see, when you talk of restructuring, we have to restructure our mentality first. It doesn't matter. If you break Nigeria into how many parts you want to break, the same people the same mentality, you will see what will happen among those
there will be further balkanizations.
You will see.
And there will be no end to it.
Because the people have not changed. We are traders in our thinking. Our leaders who were not traders in their thinking have passed away. And the few that remain, you can see some few that remain, they are making their states to be vibrant. But people are still deriding them because the thinking of those few people don't correlate with the thinking of the masses. For instance, Nigerians expect a fixing of Nigeria in 2 years, which took Rawlings 26 years to achieve in Ghana, which took maybe over 20 years in Singapore to achieve. So if you are always thinking of quick fixes in Nigeria, we are not going to get anywhere. Personal opinion. Okay, that's just my own personal conviction. Okay, because I was privileged to be one of the first beneficiaries of free primary education in Western region. Those are people who think of Nigeria, who love Nigeria, and who think long term about Nigeria. Okay, the first television station in Africa was in Ibadan. Okay, the tallest building in West Africa at that time was in Ibadan. These are people who think long term. They don't think short term. They think about the region. They don't think about my people, me, my pocket, my family. No. Until we change our attitude, we begin to think long term. Look at a lot of the projects that was established under Awolowo, even up to Lagos, when Lagos was still with the West. So these are people who think long term, not short term. So until even the people on the street, begin to think long term, that look, we need to suffer, we need to sacrifice now so that the future can be good for our children, we're not going to get anywhere.
Are we maximizing the opportunities that information technology, offers us as a country? How much of people like you does the government care to encourage?
No, I think I've been, well, you want to take me as an example, because God has really given me so much opportunities. I'm very, very grateful to God, because I've had the opportunity to express myself in my field. Okay, God gave me the opportunity, to do Lagos State Government. I did Gamji Bank. I've Nigerian Council Standards Board.
Nigerian Police.
Okay, I'm doing training. I pioneered training of digital forensics in Nigeria. I'm glad that I've trained virtually representatives from all the law enforcement agencies in Nigeria, and also even the Secret Service in Nigeria. I have the opportunity to have trained many of them. Okay, so and then I'm doing Ondo State government now, in comparison. So but there are many other people who never had the opportunity that I have. So I wouldn't say people are really encouraged, but I know NIDA has been trying very hard. That's so NIDA has tried very hard to encourage even the young ones who are coming up in the field of IT. They are still doing it. They are doing a lot of programs to encourage them. But for us to have a policy, for instance, India, what is their oil? Their oil is IT.
That's right.
Why can't we make it? Oil made us to forget some of these things. You see? That's why I said we are a nation of traders.
Buy and sell.
Buy and sell. That's all. Okay? So why can't we say in the next 10 years, this is where Nigeria is going to be? The next 10 years, from the chips inside the computer to the box, Nigeria must produce it. And then we begin to work on it. Instead, we are busy importing. That is why the dollar is expensive.
Now, does your profession have any application in the area of combating terrorism?
Yes.
Digital forensics
Yes.
in combating terrorism.
Very
You've
much.
told us of corruption,
A lot,
yes.
a lot.
How? And what impact have you made so far?
Well,
I mean your profession.
yes. Well, in the area of kidnapping, don't forget that technology is being used, okay, to combat. Even people who are arrested, what did they use? They didn't use a juju or anything like that. They used technology. Okay, they use technology to track, to locate, okay, and the digital software, for instance, phone forensics. You know, in the field of phone forensics, some of the best products in the world are available to the law enforcement agencies now in Nigeria. Even if you hide your data in the cloud and say that people will not get their technology, their
To fish it out.
that will fish it out, yes. Okay. Phone forensics, digital forensics, any form of any device where you store data, we have software and hardware that will bring them out. Okay. For instance, your phone, okay, your phone, you may not appreciate how much you keep in your phone, but let me put it to you, out of your wife and your phone, who knows you better? Your phone may know you better than your wife.
Right.
So the same thing.
But a lot of people don't know some of these things.
Yes. So when we get your phone, we've gotten you. And if you say you have saved it in the sky, in the cloud, we also go there and get it. That is what digital forensics and digital and computer forensics does today. Okay, we assist law enforcement, we assist security agencies, we assist the judiciary to make sure that the right person is prosecuted. That the wrong person, a lot of people end up in jail wrongfully. But digital and computer forensics stops that today. You see, with digital and computer forensics, you don't need to torture anybody to tell you the truth. You don't need to do that. Okay, that is what the advanced countries have. That is why you see them in advanced countries, they just invite you, they give you tea, they give you everything, they don't know. When they are investigating, they don't have shout on you, they don't, but they are going to get the facts. Meanwhile, they are investigating you. Okay? And they will get all the facts that they want to get. So that's exactly what we have started in Nigeria. The process started in 2013. The first training, my company, First Digital and Technical Law Forensics Company Limited, gave the first training to the Nigerian Police Force in 2013. And since then, we have continued. And every year, we gather practitioners and law enforcement agencies, the lawyers, and everybody together in international conferences. Okay, since 2012, we've been having one every year. This year, we're going to have one in Abuja, from the 30th to the 1st of 30th of October to 1st of November. So that's that's our contribution. Anybody is you are free to attend the conference if you want to.
Now, how do you assess the performance of the various telephony networks in the country vis-a-vis your profession?
How do we assess them? How do we assess them? Well, I think the quality is degrading. It's degraded now. The quality of service is going down. It used to be better, but it's going down. We expect that the service should be improving, but it's getting bad now. Perhaps because of the economy, they are making money and declaring profits, but they are not. I don't think they are servicing or upgrading their equipment. I've not done any research in that area, but from personal experience and observation, I've discovered that their services are going down the drain. And
is there any synergy between your profession and these various networks for the purposes of being able to checkmate crimes that people commit using phones?
Well, I'm not sure whether telephone companies are responsible for prosecution of offenses on the network. I think they are custodians of data that we can use in prosecution. So what they do is that when we have a case in the court, we make an application.
Via the court?
Yes, an application through the court to the networks to supply the data
Have they been cooperating?
Yes, they have been. They have been.
Largely.
The only problem is that you don't know. For instance, if some, I think there's a they complain that they don't have enough storage to store a lot of this information. Okay, that they don't.
That's
they don't have
detrimental
capacity.
to your kind of
Yes,
job.
it's detrimental.
How do you resolve that? How do you solve that?
And because well, that is why we have our own equipment that we use, you know, because it's not every detail. It's just to corroborate what we find. That the court will go to them to say, can you give us a list of, you know, for instance, if we want to try to link up to find out, investigate somebody, we go to the network to say,
Right.
who has been calling this person? Okay, and they will give us that data. But the thing is that we have enough equipment to investigate on our own that in most cases we don't necessarily have to go to the networks at all.
Let's also look at the data charges, you know, for accessing internet. You find that moves are even being made now to charge higher rates, you know, for using this data, you know. In a country where you are looking towards, you know, further computerization, further digitization and so on, is this kind of increase in data charges justifiable under this condition?
Don't forget we're in a capitalist economy. Nobody will come to Nigeria if they're not going to make profit. Okay? That goes back to what I said. We have a trading mentality. We're a country of about a minimum of 180 million people. How many satellites does Nigeria have that can provide internet facilities? Why is Nigeria, why are we not in a position to provide internet to the West African sub-region?
That's a possibility.
No, those are questions for us to answer. We're a trader, we have a trading import and export. Just bring something in. So we bring companies in and they become very rich. They can even sell off the company in Nigeria and then move away the way they want. Okay, so when you have, okay, what is the alternative for us as users, you and I? Whatever price the NCC agrees with these people to sell to it. For instance, if they can provide the financial analysis to show that they're not making money, they need to make a particular margin to NCC, NCC will give them a go ahead to do so. So, until we change our mentality, there are certain things that the Nigeria itself should be able to generate and distribute to the people. There are so many things that are wrong with us. Many, many things. Even though we're in ICT. But look at gas. You are talking about internet now. Look at gas. Why is gas so expensive in Nigeria? Something that's been flared away. So there are many, many things that are wrong with us, and Nigeria needs to go back. That's why we need to restructure first. Let's restructure things that will make, when we now restructure politically, it will work. Okay. So,
now, there's this new Ponzi pyramid marketing going on the internet, the MMM stuff. And I think this is in the domain of digital world generally. It's something to do with digitization. What's your attitude to this kind of money doubling exercise on the internet?
Yeah, well, I go back again, our mentality. We don't want to work. We think that somebody is working behind the scene for us, and so you can just put in your money and it will double. I will not put my money into it.
Is it correct application of knowledge, digital knowledge?
No, that is somebody uses his brain.
That's what I'm saying.
He's using his brain to go to, it's an entrepreneur. He sits down, thinks of something, and pushes it out, promotes it, and people embrace it.
So will it be wrong for a Nigerian to also think that way and create that kind of game?
I believe that, well, from what I don't have, because as a forensic examiner, I don't have the evidence. But from what I've read, I'm told that in Nigerian also is part of the people behind it.
Okay.
But I don't have my evidence. Okay, and so in law they call that one hearsay.
Okay.
So you can't take that evidence to court.
So there's nothing wrong with this kind of game.
No, because
If one can establish it.
If government thinks.
But then you are blaming Nigerians for buying into it because of their trading mentality.
No, no, Nigerians, yes, because Nigerians, you see, what I'm saying is that if you put your money in it and it gets lost, it's your own fault.
Okay.
Not anybody's fault. And I'm not sure the Central Bank of Nigeria, who is the apex body for regulating our finances, has approved that project, that program. I'm not sure it has approved it.
If it's ethically right, as you have said now,
I didn't say that.
Why should...
I didn't say it is ethically right.
Okay.
What I've said is that somebody thought something in his mind and executed it.
Okay.
It doesn't make it right.
Okay.
But I've told you that I will not put my money in it.
Okay.
So it's not ethically, to me, it is not, why would I not put my money into it? Because it's not ethically right.
All right, maybe on a final note.
I will not put my money into it.
On a final note,
Yes.
Maybe in 1 or 2 sentences, how do you describe the state of the nation, the Nigerian nation?
Well,
your hopes, your fears.
well, I believe Nigeria is.
We're rounding off now.
We're going through a transition period. It's a transition period, whereby the future will be determined during the next few years. Because my own opinion, when this government came into power, I said something. I said, God help us that this government succeeds. Because people have a lot of hopes. And I hope the hope will not be dashed. Because people think it's short term. It is not left for the government to let people understand very clearly what steps they are taking and the sacrifice people still need to make for us to get to the promised land. So, to me, I believe Nigeria has a very bright future. The resources are there. God has blessed us with the best brains in the world. So I believe it's just for the government to harness the brilliant people they have in the country, put them together, and make things happen. But the negative side is corruption, because everybody now, the corruption is part of us, and some people don't even see corruption again. They don't even recognize it when they see it. So, and that's what this government is fighting. So we need to, but I believe that Nigeria has a very great future ahead of us.
Yes, yes, on that beautiful, hopeful note for Nigeria, we're going to be wrapping it up on the program for today. My guest has been Dr. Olubusola Olayiwola. He's a digital forensics expert, and he is the Chief Executive Officer, Rockshire Technologies Group. I thank you very much for coming on this program today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
I enjoyed every bit of it.
Thank you.
I thank you very much for being part of this show today. Next week, I'll be back with another guest on the program. Until then, I wish you a very great weekend, and to our Muslim viewers, Baraka de Salah. Bye-bye now.